Hello, welcome to the Supply Drop, episode 73, season 2, potentially. My name is Thick. I'll be your host today. My other host today is Scott.
Hey, everybody.
Scott, how have you been? We've been off for like a couple weeks.
Yeah, took a little bit of a break. I think it was a needed break.
Yeah, a little
I've been
spottical.
I've been good. I did notice something that, when you're not doing a podcast or having to kind of, have your finger on the pulse of gaming and everything, it kind of allows you to just play whatever you want and just kind of relax with it and not have to worry about playing the latest and greatest. So naturally, I've been playing the latest and greatest. So I've been playing a lot of Enshrouded.
I feel like
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've been playing the latest and greatest. I feel like sometimes, to kind of follow the news, like I've been playing Suicide Squad, right?
Oh, really?
But yes, I have.
Okay.
I haven't been playing a ton, so there might be some things that I'm missing. But yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. So today we'll be going over probably Steam Next Fest a little bit. We'll talk about the games we played over the hiatus, and we'll talk about the big elephant in the room that is what's going on with Xbox.
Yeah. Can't wait.
All right. Yeah. So Scott, you've been playing a couple of games. Enshrouded.
Enshrouded is what I've been playing mostly, and I joined the Enshrouded Reddit. And I don't know if you've been there or not, but this is a game. Okay, so it's on Steam. It's a PC game, and it's a third-person survival game. But it also has a lot of role-playing, fantasy kind of things involved with it, which is the kind of games I like. You can just explore and find new enemies and new places to kind of loot. But it is still base building and survival and all that. So you have these little... You can kind of build whatever you want using these blocks made of wood, made of stone, whatever. Just Minecraft it kind of thing. So I'm like tediously building like this house. And I'm like, in my mind, this is like a beautiful mansion. I lay everything out and I get the floor plan and I put everything together. And I spend like hours and hours of like tediously getting the windows and all this stuff. It looks like crap. It looks like a shed. I mean, I go to Reddit and I see these people like making like, oh, I made the Taj Mahal. Or, oh, look, here's Big Ben. Is
this a game issue, or do you think it's
no, it's not at all. It's not all. But no, it's a me issue because then I'm like, oh, I forgot I have this hammer. So when you have a building hammer, you have like these preset stairs, preset walls, preset all of this other stuff that you would normally have in a modern survival, building game. So then I'm like, oh, wow, I could have just put this whole thing together in like 10 minutes and made it look 20 times better. So it's not taking away the enjoyment. I just feel really dumb for like laying a block. Like my floor was like da, 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 where I could have just went floor, wall. Well, anyway, but it is really cool. I'm finding some new areas to go into. I've lost my stuff only a couple of times. And of course you do. If you get killed, you got to go back and get your stuff. But that guy that killed you, he's just sitting there waiting on you. And it's.
But do you lose it if you die again, kind of thing, right?
No, it's you have another one. So now you have two. So then you can go get the other one.
Okay.
And it's not really a bunch of stuff that you're gonna just cry over. I'm probably not leveled up enough to have anything that would be devastating if I lost it. So
yeah.
So I'm doing that, and I'm having a blast with it, and I'm also not really running into any bugs or any technical issues. It does slow down in weird places, frame rate wise, which may be a CPU utilization thing. But man, it runs great. It's still in early access, but again, it's one of those games that's like, oh, it's in early access, and it's $30, and it runs better than most AAA games. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, just kind of taking a break from a lot of other stuff and doing that. It's cool.
Okay. So what is the main unique thing regarding the game, would you say?
I think the unique thing is that it is a survival game, but
Hmm.
it's not tied heavily into like say thirst and hunger. It takes a more role playing approach to the adventuring section of the
Okay.
game, right? So like if you go venture out or whatever, it's not like, oh my god, I got to get back because I don't have anything to drink. I mean, it's not, you don't run into that so much. But you have, when you build your base and you have these other people that you can add to your base, so you can go get these like a blacksmith and all these other people, and you actually build a village. You have to build houses for these people because they have to have somewhere to live, and so you
Yeah.
find yourself just kind of being like, uh, you know, more like a mayor than an architect. It's like, what do I need to put this
So
here? We
are
got
there
some
NPCs
structures. Yeah.
that kind of populate your city or
Yes.
village?
Yeah. I am
Okay.
playing alone. You can play on a server by yourself. It is co-op though. You can totally play with other people. There's no PvP,
Hmm.
which I hope it stays that way. I'm getting a little weary of
Yeah.
PvP, which I can get into if we're going to talk about next fest. But
Mm.
yeah, it's cool. I do recommend it. If you like games, if you like fantasy games with the building aspect to it, then I mean it's a no-brainer.
Okay. I think it's good that you mentioned that it's solo, so I might consider checking out. It's
Yeah.
been a while. I feel like I haven't really been into the survival game loop for a while, and like if you said that there's less emphasis on things like health or sorry, like eating and all that stuff, I think
Yeah.
that would ease me in.
Yeah,
So
that's what I think I get weary of in survival games because if there's not real like a story, not really a story, but if there's just not something that kind of pushes you through the game to do other things or to explore, and it's just about don't die, then I kind of lose interest in it. This is kind of slacks on the survival and ramps up on the exploration and combat and stuff like that.
okay, okay, all right. I might check it out. Not anytime soon, but maybe eventually.
Cool.
It's gonna be on my wish list.
Cool. I'll help you. I'll help you make it. No, you don't want my help. Make it anything.
Was it so you also got into Steam Fest, right?
I
You
did. I
checked out a
didn't.
couple things?
Yeah, I played a couple of things just for a minute. A couple of things didn't work. One of them was not what I thought it was. But I did. There's one that's worth mentioning called Dungeonborn. Now,
Oh, I heard about that. I saw that.
yeah, it is. I've talked about a game called Dark and Darker before on here, and it's a PvP dungeon crawler where you
Okay.
go in and it's basically an extraction role playing game. You get loot, you fight other people, you get out. This is basically the same game. Now, Dark and Darker is still in some kind of legal action with I forget who, but they say they.
Is it Nexon
I think
or
so. Yeah, like some employees work there, and when they came over to work on Dark and Darker,
they
they
took
they
access,
brought
blah
some
blah blah.
stuff with them,
Yeah.
like idiots. And then now the guys that make Dark and Darker are like pulled into this lawsuit, so they had to pull it off Steam and blah blah, and a drama story. But Dungeons is really it takes that kind of it is. I think it's a better game. It's the graphics are a little better, the mechanics are a little bit better, the combat is a little
Okay.
bit better. But again, I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it, and then when you come across another player, it's it's a crapshoot. It's like they're
Can you
either
decide
like
to work together?
no. You want to take their stuff.
Okay. Okay.
So it's you don't know, like some interactions that I've had have been pretty balanced. Like we've fought like an actual
Hmm.
fight. Then I've had some people like I'm like, oh, here comes oh, I'm dead. He just looked at me and gazed my way, and I'm like, even with full health, I'm dead. Uh,
Okay.
because he threw a knife or something at me. I don't know.
Maybe a lack of balance,
Maybe a lack of
potentially.
balance, but at the same time, it just Why can't that just be single play or co-op? Why can't it just be co-op? Just that would be a fun co-op game, is to get a bunch of stuff and help each other get out. And but maybe, I don't know, if it does well, maybe they'll add something like that to it,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
maybe a single player mode. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting a little tired of the PvE aspect. Like every game doesn't have to be an extraction PvE. I don't know,
that
but
might just take away from this game's identity potentially if you take away the PvP aspect. I'm not sure. Like, if do you think like the PvE aspects holds up enough for longevity?
I don't know. I mean, that's gonna tell with a lot of these other titles, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
extraction shooters are kind of like they're here and now they're are they still here? Are they I think everybody's just kind of looking at Marathon like that's going to determine where this genre goes. But with a game like this, especially with a smaller group, I don't see why they couldn't say add a dungeon or a mode that is just co-op,
yeah,
and that is separate from the gear that you get for is playing the regular PvPvE mode, because you don't want to like completely level up in one area then go in there and just run over everybody. They want to
yeah.
balance that out, but I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. I'm these these smaller studios that make these games like Enshrouded, and you can go to the Reddit and you can go, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this? And then 4 patches later, it's like, oh, we hear you. We added this. It feels more like games used to be, especially PC games, that like, you could go to their forums and go, hey, we really want this. We want this, quality of life aspect, and we want this and this.
Yeah,
And they're like, okay, we'll work on it. You don't get that really with the AAA
yeah, not
title.
anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it takes years for them to go, God, if they won't shut up about it, I guess we'll put it in there. But like I've said before, it's like, hey, this thing is really, it's killing our game. Oh, we'll get to it in 3 weeks. Hey, the store's down. Oh, we'll get to it in 30 seconds. It's back up. So we know they can do things quicker. They just prioritize the money first. So yeah, that was about it. I played some.
Okay.
I don't know, nothing really worth mentioning. I wasn't impressed with this Next Fest as I was the last couple of ones. Of course, Enshrouded was in the last one, and that was one I was like, I can't wait to play this. I can't wait for this to come out. There wasn't really one that pulled me in like that, like Enshrouded did.
So the one that stuck out to me in Next Fest was well, Tribes Ascend. Well, no, sorry, Tribes 3. I think it's got some weird name to it because it's basically Tribes Ascend.
Yeah,
But it's just the same devs that work on it that used to be working at Hi-Res Studios. They basically are kind of re-releasing it because I got emails about it. I played the original Tribes Ascend. It's been 10 years now, actually. I'm
yeah,
very
it's been a
surprised.
while. So you
Yeah,
played it?
I played it. Yeah, I
I
mean,
did not.
I'm pretty bad at this point. Like 10 years ago, maybe a little bit sharper, but yeah, it's a little rough for me. Plus, there's a little rubber banding. But I mean, this is kind of like a test, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully they'll get it resolved. I am interested in playing this game more. There's really nothing really out there kind of like this, and in terms of like arena
No.
shooter,
No.
I I don't know if it'll last again. Like Tribes Ascend, they pretty much just like stopped supporting it. This was a kind of like pre like live service gaming phase, right? Like,
Yeah. Even even when even when the first Tribes came out, it felt
yeah,
more like a proof of concept than an entire game. And they
yeah,
kind of focused a little bit more on Tribes 2, and they added some more modes and smaller maps. It's because some of
mm,
the Tribes, the first one is like, okay, it's been 10 minutes, I haven't seen one other player.
yeah,
So that felt a little bit more refined and felt more like a true game instead of a concept. But it just seemed like that's all you could really do with something like that. It didn't really have anywhere to go. And I think
yeah.
Ascend
It's
was tried to, you know, rebuild
modernize it,
that,
right?
modernize it a little bit. But yeah, I don't know if I would. I think I'm just kind of done with that
That's
type
fair.
of arena shooter. It's just so large. The maps are just so big. just trying to hit somebody from way off. It feels a little bit more like Apex Legends than anything else, or at least
Yeah.
the
It's
third one.
definitely it's high skill ceiling kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you play it to get better at it, to get those sweet shots right in the middle of the air, like just like the puck just hits them right in the face, because
Yep.
those are really difficult. And I know when I was younger, I was able to do it, but only got like one single
Yeah.
shot like that once, and it was just lucky.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious if they could sustain it. Arena shooters are they they they're kind of they don't really have longevity these days, despite being like pretty pick up and go. And I guess that's the problem with it. You can't have a high monthly user count and sustain it long term. You have to. I feel like it's kind of in the middle of a box purchase and like a free to play model. But
Yeah, definitely. It's not. I don't know if there's a market enough for a large enough market for that. I mean, it seems like
yeah,
Counter-Strike and other games like that kind of fill that void
yeah,
so completely that there's not enough room. I don't know if you could still put Halo Infinite in that category. It is free to play and it is technically an arena shooter, but it kind of Halo's kind of its own thing. But
yeah. I think it helps
it
that Halo kind of has like a platform as in Forge, where you can
yeah,
do things. Um, and I think Halo is very robust. Like, there's a lot of game modes you could do.
yeah, a lot of
Tribes,
content.
yeah, Tribes doesn't have the same like,
Mm-mm.
yeah. I There's another thing I downloaded from Steam Fest, but I didn't get around to play it. It was like a tactical RPG, on the isometric grids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just saw a trailer for it. I downloaded it. I think Steam Fest ends like, was it the next few days or is it today? I
Tomorrow.
don't know if I'll get to it. Okay.
This is
Okay.
Sunday, so it'll be tomorrow.
Yeah. This week had a lot of free trials out. Open beta for Sea of Thieves. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones. Sorry.
Ooh,
Oh, I
whoops.
said the wrong.
Ooh, you got to be careful
Slip
with
of the
that.
tongue. Yeah, gotta be careful.
That was probably the game
Skull and
they were.
Bones.
This is, don't I don't want to hear anybody in the studio say Sea of Thieves. Yeah.
Yeah. That I booted it back up a little bit. Only
Yeah.
got a little bit in. I mean, it's the gameplay loop seems like as expected. Like, I think we played a closed beta at one point, right?
Yeah, we did.
So it's kind of as expected. Not too much to say about it. I think this is just they want to put it out there and figure it out. So I do have Ubisoft Plus. I'll probably check out the full game and see how I feel about it. I don't think it's
Well, okay. Well, I do have one question. We
mhm.
did play the open beta. It is better than that open beta, right? I mean, it's got to be.
It than the very early build we did.
Yeah.
It is better. Like
Okay.
the opening, I think, there was another time where I did play the next beta after what we played, the one that's
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
old,
I didn't get
and
into
I
that
mentioned
one.
like the opener is much better, like
Okay.
very streamlined. But I think that kind of reduces some mechanical depth to it potentially. So I'm not sure. I wanna maybe chew through it probably when it's live
Mm-hmm.
and just see how I feel. I think this is probably gonna be like, what was it, six out of 10 game at
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of 4 to 5s, unfortunately. But this kind of has a lot of things against it already. Just like the news, the narrative around it, just how long it's been like cooking, and
Yeah. You can't keep that momentum for
yeah,
what's it going on 7 years now? 8 years?
I I think it might be 9. I'm not sure. Hold
Man.
on. I think 2017, right? I think that's when they announced it.
Yeah, that was when it was announced, and it had been supposedly it had been in production since Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. Not 4.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah,
4?
yeah.
Yeah, that was
I
4.
think it was 4. Yeah.
Yeah, which was I don't know when that was, but yeah, I
I
mean
I
it's
never thought the mechanic, the ship mechanic was worth a full game, but
I didn't either, and I think that they borrowed money from who was it? I think it was
Singapore.
Singapore And had they not done that, they probably would have canceled this game. I mean, they've
Yeah.
canceled other games that were, you know, like the next Ghost Recon game where they showed it was just an extraction shooter, and everybody's like, "You got to be kidding me,"
Patriots.
and yeah, and it just and hopefully X Defiant will actually get a release.
I think
Where
that's still scheduled for release. I think I hear it's before April. So this
really
month, next
okay,
month, yeah,
okay, well we'll see. But
we'll
yeah,
see.
I
I
might
mean,
try.
I'll play it. We should play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, cool.
Okay. So to get into what I most okay, also Call of Duty had a free weekend this weekend. I played a little bit of zombies, just solo, but
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
fun.
not bad.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a PvE version of like an extraction shooter. So
yeah.
I'm like, okay,
They
cool.
got like a Zack Snyder filter over the way the map looks and
Yeah,
everything. It's
yeah.
they got that. It's cool. I have
It's
fun with
it's
it.
yeah, it's very casual. Like
Hmm.
unless you go, I don't go too deep because I don't want to deal with it as a solo player because I'm like half paying attention. Um, but it's kind of cool. You run into other people. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, let's talk about Suicide Squad.
Yes. Yes. I want to hear about
S-
this. I have not played it.
so I would say like in the beginning, like for context, like I've probably been the one guy on our podcast that's kind of like been not necessarily championing it, but like I'm kind of rooting for it in a way, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I do feel that media already decided what they were gonna do about it. Like I do feel they already made up their mind. I feel like this is not like a 5 out of 10 that IGN puts down because I feel like okay, the things I like in this game, like it's definitely high quality in production. Like the
Yeah.
world is pretty. The character models, the acting, like the cutscenes are well done for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The
the
animations look good
traversal,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the traversal, I'd say is almost akin to Spider-Man. Not necessarily at the same swing,
Right.
um, but like they each four character definitely feels different to play. Even though the main shooting mechanic is mostly the same, the movement mechanics, really like kind of changes up the flow. And um that's probably my favorite part of it. Like you can kind of like chain moves together. It's very I agree with what a lot of people are saying. They're saying it's very Sunset Overdrive like.
Oh, okay.
Um so so far I like the core gameplay. Now I think I'm not a huge fan of right now, or it feels a little disjointed, is the whole mission-based thing where you kind of select missions, you do it, and then all of a sudden you get a little reward screen at the end.
Hmm.
It takes you out of it, uh, and then you just go straight back in. You don't like leave that zone. You can move to the next zone. So it's a little jarring because like
Oh,
that mission
okay.
screen takes up your whole screen, and then like you can just move to the next zone. Some story things you'll go back to the base. Um, I know some people don't like the story. I've heard a lot of people like doesn't like how it ties the Arkhamverse together, which I
Yeah.
totally get. If you're a fan
Yeah.
of the story to that, personally, I never really went through the whole story. I don't have any real ties to the story. To me, the game, I was interested in the cadence of what I saw from some of the trailers, not necessarily the franchise.
Hmm.
Um, and I know I have high respect for Rocksteady when it comes to gameplay. I guess cadence, because like the Arkham games, I think I mentioned like they have a really good like musical flow to it, to where it's kind of like pleasing, and I think it kind of transfers over here with the movement mechanics.
Hmm.
But when we talk about maybe some combat so far, because I think um, it's some combat situations are really easy. Some of it's a little bit noisy. Like there's a lot going on. There's like icons
So like yeah,
everywhere.
that's what a lot of people have been complaining about, that it's like
Yeah.
visually nauseating as far and loud. as far as like
it's
all of
very
that.
it's very
But
loud.
someone also did say that you can turn a lot of that stuff off. Like you can go into
Yeah.
the settings, or maybe this might just be on PC. I don't know, but you can go in and turn off a lot of the information that you're seeing on the
Yeah.
screen.
Do
And
you tend to do that? Because honestly, I kind of just play it on default because I feel like if that's what they intended as the original vision, I'm just gonna leave it.
yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, some of the stuff just
It is it's
it
a bit noisy, but I think part of me I want to get maybe used to it.
yeah.
So we'll see. I am getting better at it. So after the tutorial, it did start to get a little bit more difficult. Not necessarily like overly difficult, but there part of the difficulty was with the noisiness.
Yeah.
But I am still starting to get used to it. What I some of the mechanics I do like in the combat a lot is the the kind of shield regen mechanic. Like you don't regen your shield. It doesn't automatically regen. You need to fight to kind of regen it. Like it's a little bit weird, I
Kind of
think,
like
where
Outriders.
in a way, yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of adds to this kind of because there's some things there that just kind of kill you, not almost instantly, but like quick enough to where if you don't react in time or like you don't maintain it, you're gonna fall down. You get like I think 3 or 4 revives per mission.
Mm-hmm.
In single player, the AI's been pretty good about saving me. So like there so far the AI has been pretty good. I've been playing mostly by myself. So I'm very curious how the higher difficulties are, like whether they really tighten that, like, oh, you got to know all the mechanics to
Right.
really succeed. So really curious on that. I'm not sure if I'll get to it anytime soon. I'm just kind of like slowly mulling through it right now.
What character are you playing?
I'm playing Harley Quinn, but I just recently switched to um, King Shark. King Shark's a lot
Yeah.
easier to play.
The word on the street is yeah, he's the best character.
Oh, that's what people are saying? He's the
That's
easiest character.
yeah, that's probably what they
Yeah,
mean. Is that he's the well, best, easiest. I
yeah.
mean, I think they kind of go.
He's pretty fun. He's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I could almost say, like if you layered like an Avengers game on top of it, it's almost like Deadshot could be Iron Man,
Right.
King Shark could be the Hulk.
Yeah.
I don't know what Harley would be, but I mean Harley and Boomerang are very unique. Like
Yeah.
uh, Harley kind of has two grapples, one where she grapples like a floating drone that she uses. And there's a limited amount of times you could do that one. And then she also has one where it's basically like any Batman game. Like it transfers from Batman game where you grapple onto a ledge, which you have unlimited.
Okay. Okay.
So it does take some getting used to her movement. It's very there's a weird flow to it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's interesting. Now the boomerang one is cool where you throw the boomerang and you could hold how long you flow it, and when you release, you teleport to it. It's a really cool visual thing. I don't know how much I'd like it. I haven't played them enough, or I
Mm-hmm.
haven't played them beyond the tutorial. But it's more unique like I think this is the first time I've really seen that mechanic like used in that way. I think maybe Final Fantasy 15 kind of had a similar teleport mechanic, but it wasn't the same way where it was like you can control where it goes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that it's you've got 4 different characters, and they are actually 4 different characters. They're
Yeah,
not just like, oh, well, you're playing that character in the cutscene, and then when you play the game, they're all basically just running around shooting. That
yeah.
would have been a giant mistake. But yeah, this game it's very divisive. There's a lot of people that are, well, you can tell a lot of people that I think are DC fans hate this
Hmm.
game. And then a lot of people that don't know DC or even won't care to follow anything comic book wise seem to enjoy it. So I wonder how much of the story plays into that, because it is of course I've seen
It's
all of
definitely a
the leak stuff that how they kill
Yeah,
Batman
yeah.
and
Spoilers.
yeah, I mean if you've been on the internet you know that, well, I mean it's the
Yeah,
name of the game. I don't think
yeah,
that's
yeah. I
giving
know.
anything away, but uh, I think I don't know. Me personally, I'm not. I'm a Marvel fan. Longtime
Yeah.
Marvel fan, not necessarily a DC fan. Of course, I do like Batman. I liked all the Batman games, but I would have probably, I would have just enjoyed a Justice League game done in a much more darker, more less live servicey game. Well, I guess that's more or less Gotham
That feels
Knights.
like the Avengers,
Well, no, not
actually,
the
or
Avengers. Yeah,
Gotham.
yeah, yeah, like an Arkham game, but you add Superman and the Flash, and but and that probably was on a wall somewhere at one time, but they just decided
Yeah,
to go
I
the opposite direction in it.
yeah, I feel like mechanically that would not work with at least this game's ethos as a shooter,
Yeah,
right? Because those characters are brawlers, and to be honest, like when I saw the Avengers, the first trailer, like it just looked like a brawler. I have no interest in like a looter brawler, right? Because it just
yeah, it's
for
a
some
it's
reason
a
it
like
doesn't
a
feel the
fun for
same.
5 minutes
Yeah,
kind of game.
yeah.
Now the single player, did you play the single player Avengers? Like the
I like the single
I
player.
did
Yeah, it
too.
was.
I enjoyed it. But and then I was done with it though. I really
Yeah,
didn't want to do all of that like 60 times over again. And I liked the story. I thought it was the whole thing about Captain
it
America.
was really
And
Crystal Dynamics like forte, right? Like single
yeah,
player.
yeah,
So
you could tell that is where that game kind of shines. And unfortunately, with the whole layer of live service and just junky way of doing that, and now that it's pretty much shut down,
yeah,
a lot of people won't get to experience that. So maybe that's not. Maybe they didn't want to do the same thing with Suicide Squad. They didn't want to make that single player experience, and then with a live service tacked onto it. This sounds more like it is a live service game from start to finish,
yeah. I think
much like
this is
Destiny.
pretty
Yeah.
much it.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Cool.
is definitely like I think they started out this way and that's what they wanted. Now to be granted, I feel like like whenever anyone says live service, it's very negative. But I feel like this is they've done it right to fix it to where it's not really going to be a live service in a way because like it's going to have an offline mode eventually. Um,
No.
no, 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 no. They
Oh, I know
announced
they
it.
said that, but I don't think it will. If they make an
I,
offline mode, I'll eat a bug.
I think they'll do it, but it'll be a while. It'll
Mm.
be a while.
We'll
And
no, go ahead.
oh, okay, so the battle passes they don't expire. So essentially they're just kind
Oh,
of like
really? Okay. Yeah.
time gated DLC. That's what it seems like. It doesn't feel like a live service to me, and I'm kind of
Hmm.
not treating it as a live service. So I don't. The first battle pass has not arrived yet, so I don't know how it'll be. But right now, to me, I don't. I'm not planning to play this like long term, and I think that's part of the thing with this game specifically. Like, if this didn't have a live, if this was basically like Gotham Knights in terms
Mm-hmm.
of like it's just a one and done, I think this would have gotten a better reception in a
Yeah.
way. And then if they just did like instead of battle passes, just DLCs for each of those, like each of the battle passes, I think that would have been fine too.
Yeah. You're right, and it probably would have sold fine. I think a lot of
Yeah,
studios when they especially when you have a licensed game like that, they're too scared to just make a good single player game or co-op game or something that you can just play once, because we're seeing that at Sony Studios. They leaked all the financials. We got to see that's like, oh wow, these games are exceedingly expensive or as expensive as we thought they were, and they're not as selling as well as everybody was saying they were.
yeah,
So it's not obviously making them as much money as they need or want. So, Warner Brothers does the same thing and says, yeah, well, the next game is definitely going to be a live service game because they're looking at, like look at Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite came out 2021 or 2000, yeah,
yeah,
2021.
21. Yeah,
It was free multiplayer and everybody loved it for like 5 minutes. until the store like loaded, until it's it's like, hey, look at the skin, it's $30, it's this and this, and everybody complained. They're like, oh, we're gonna fix it, and it took them about 2 months to fix it, and then but in that time, how much money did they make? $1 billion at least, like on just transactions alone. I mean, that's what they look at. They're like, oh no, our game, not as so many people are liking it. How much money is it making? Millions, almost billions. They're like, okay, well, fine. So it's like, why don't we'll make it better later when they stop playing, but for right now, just make it good for them to buy stuff. So, but this is live service game, $70. They're going to have to do something different with that. And hopefully we won't see the same thing where, that store pops up, that new season comes up, and it's just, total greed. So, but you'll let us know, right?
Yeah. So I would say that from what I hear, like just regarding the game again, the in-game, I'm not at it, but from what some people have mentioned, it's more robust than like a lot of in games that people release right on the spot. So
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. I hear that about a lot of games, and when I get to the end game, it's just, hey, it's just you're doing the same things that you just did in the single player by yourself, just with more people. So yeah, again, we'll see. And then when that battle pass comes out, just let us know if it's how it is.
Yeah.
That's when that's the telltale sign. Call of Duty's gotten smart about that. It's like, hey, yep, check out our game, give it to IGN, give it to GameSpot, let them review it. Everything's great, and then
free weekend. Like they always do a free weekend.
Do a free weekend, and then here's the battle pass, bam, and then everybody's like, are you kidding me? What? So, it's all psychology, man.
I do notice they give more currency in the battle pass than you actually put in. So
really,
so it's was it 1100 for a battle pass, and you get 1300 back. And in Call of Duty, we're talking about Call of Duty.
I haven't noticed that. I did buy the first battle pass for Modern Warfare 3, didn't I? I think so. Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I did. I did. I just did, but I didn't notice what I got back. Now I'm gonna have to go back and look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's cool. And for some reason, I had enough to buy it. I don't know where I got it. Maybe with the last
from previous games.
Yeah, it's probably with buying a battle pass for Modern Warfare 2, and me being not observant enough, probably put money back in it, and then I bought the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably at least a good thing that they carry the currency over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
surprisingly,
yeah. I think Assassin's Creed doesn't do that. Like they kind of have like a single player currency, but yeah, I would like to see more companies try to do that if they're going to keep doing the microtransaction thing, which we know they're going to. So.
Yeah. I just want stuff that I can like work for, that is just as good as stuff you can buy.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, and this is not a popular opinion, but I don't have a problem with, like, say, having some armor in a game, right, that you can purchase, and it's really cool, but you can also earn it, like, I don't mind if somebody buys it because they just don't want to they don't want to do the things you got to do to get it.
Yeah.
But I would like to earn it, and if that's the same. But what we see a lot now is like, oh, this is what you earned. Well, that looks like crap. This is what you can buy. That looks amazing. It's just like all the good stuff is like put in the store. If they even that out, I think that, it would make more people happy, and they would make just like, $655,000 less, for that day.
Yeah, I think companies don't put in the idea of goodwill into their value, right? Like that's just no company ever really does that. It's all about the value of money. But
Yep. Extraction shooter. Extract your wallet.
More or less.
Did you play anything else?
I wouldn't. I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
I got the ROG Ally, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I returned it actually only because,
It's not a
mostly
Steam Deck.
because, well, no,
Just kidding.
I do like the form factor. I like the form factor a lot.
Yeah,
The sticks feel way better than the original Steam Deck. I
yeah.
don't know how it feels on the newer one.
It's pretty good.
But I I like the experience of just having the basically Windows
Mm-hmm.
on a portable machine. So like, whatever I can do on here, if I want to play a game with weird DRM, I could do it on
Yeah.
the ROG Ally. So the software layer they put on top of it, Asus puts on top of it, is a little janky. Uh, but it works for the most part. I kind of want to wait for a Gen 2 and see, because right now there's like one chipset that a lot of people are using, which is the AMD Z1
Mm-hmm.
Extreme. I got the Z1, which is like a cut down version of the Extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I played Death Stranding. I played oh, there's another AAA game that is a little bit more graphically intensive, but I thought it ran things pretty well. It's like pretty much like a cheap Steam Deck. Like you get the cheapest version, it's like the equivalent price.
So what made you return it?
Ah, one of the RGB was broken on it, so that kind of gave me a reason. Cause I bought an open box, right?
Yeah.
Um, that gave me a reason kind of return it, and I kind of want to wait for next gen again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard several other people say the same thing about buying that version, like the step
Hmm.
down version. Not so much that they wish they had bought the updated one, but they can't wait. They will probably know. Having the experience with that one, they will be wanting the second generation, and I think
Yeah. Yeah.
that's probably what they want. That's how they're that's how they've kind of engineered it.
Yeah.
Until they figure this out, I think they're still kind of figuring these HHPCs out because I know the Steam Deck is. Oh man, I mean, I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought I thought about that too. I thought, well, let's get a Linux operating system on it, and I can plug it up to a mouse keyboard, and I can use Linux, which is great. I'm comfortable with Linux, but also just being able to run some Doom wads on it, or something
Yeah.
that I would be able to do with a Windows based. I thought I would miss that. I thought I would kind of feel left out on that, but I really haven't. I think it's just the functionality for me is made it good, but or allowed me to just take it and go play games with it. And I really didn't think I would be satisfied with that, but I totally am. But I get that. I think that Asus and Lenovo are probably already geared up to release something probably at the end of this year, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would say this year or next year, because
Yeah.
right
Steam
now
Deck,
I feel
not so
like,
much, but yeah.
yeah, Steam Deck is probably gonna wait. Maybe I should just wait for next Steam Deck too. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gabe Newell said, he's like the what they want to do with it is not. He kind of sounds like George Lucas. This is what George Lucas said at the end of Return of the Jedi. I was like, I can't make my next movie. There's not enough money on the planet yet for me to make my next movie. It just stuff is too expensive. I think that's the way they're looking at what they want to do with the next Steam Deck. Is
yeah,
that they can't make it cheap enough to be viable right now.
yeah,
But we all know that could just be another year and a half away to where it is. So I will be interested in the next version.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they
This is
got
a
no.
very interesting segment,
Yeah.
and
And this will
uh,
tie into our overall
yeah,
segment too in a little bit
yeah,
because
yeah.
this is one
I
of
wanna
those,
talk about that
yeah, little
rumor
rumor.
too, right?
Yeah.
Just add it in there. All
Yeah.
right, all right, all right. Let's go into the cream of the crop. Oh, even we've been waiting to talk about this. We
Oh
didn't
my
have a
God.
podcast
Oh
like
my
last
God.
week, and it's like, oh, gee, I wish we had a place where we could talk about this.
I know. I know. I was like, I was. Oh, every time something came up, I'm like,
Oh, you want to
uh,
talk about it? I know.
I know. I was
I
like,
want to talk about it too.
this is getting crazy. This is getting crazy. Should we just go like rumor to rumor
Yeah,
and kind of
let's
debunk it,
timeline
or
it. A lot of
yeah,
it's already kind of debunked already, right? Because a lot of
yeah,
people are backtracking. Oh,
yeah.
it's not. Okay, okay. Let me just timeline it real quick.
Okay,
Kind
yeah,
of
do it.
have a little notes on it. We
Nate
know
the
like
Hate. I think it
earlier
started with
last
Nate
yeah
the Hate, right?
yeah
Yeah.
earlier last month. We talked about I think we actually did talk about this, the Hi-Fi Rush,
Uh huh.
Sea of Thieves rumor. which I mean, I never had an issue with. I don't
No,
think you had an issue with because
not
it
at
kind of makes
all.
sense,
Yep.
right? Because I feel Hi-Fi Rush is a has major audience on PlayStation and Switch. I think it would be
I
a
think it
great
would.
game for
Oh, I
them.
think it would be great on Nintendo.
Yeah,
I think that's an excellent title, and I think actually Sea of Thieves would do well on PlayStation.
yeah,
That's just kind of a well, it's a rare style of game that they have that they
no
don't
pun,
have
right?
on PlayStation. Pun intended.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I will be there, day one, handing them a barrel. Yeah, see what all you gotta do is take this barrel. Yeah, this one that's
Yeah.
fizzing. Yeah,
Yeah, hold
just
it.
just hold it right there by your boat. Yeah, bye. I gotta go. I'll go get you some more barrels.
So I know they did release a big update to Sea of Thieves recently that
Yes, they
kind of like,
did.
yeah, foundational changes, and
Mm-hmm.
then they're gonna move with actual like game updates, right? I think it's kind of like it seems to be a trend actually. Like the Division did something similar. I mean, but that's a different story.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
okay, next rumor. Uh, Xbox era mentioned that Starfield was supposedly releasing on PS5. So this is where kind of like shit hits the fan
Yep.
because it's like
This is
this
when
is
it
the
blew up.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the game that's just like, oh, we you buy an Xbox to play Starfield. At least back in the day, like
Yeah.
today people are just bagging on it still. But um, this is where it blew. This was last Sunday, I think, like a week ago.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, I log in and like the whole Reddit is on fire. People wanted to,
Throwing away
saying
their
that,
their Xboxes
yeah, it's like no reason to
and
own an Xbox. Like
God,
I don't know. It was massive fire.
people were
Uh,
crying on Twitter, like literally, like
yeah,
videos
yeah.
of them. Yeah.
The next one that which followed very quickly after, which kind of feels a little suspect, right? Like it just seems like they're trying to capitalize on the outrage, and The Verge mentions Indiana Jones might. Jeff Grubb mentions that
Oh,
Gears of War
right.
might.
Well, let's pinpoint that right there. So after Xbox era did this, the entire games media jumped on this whole thing,
Yeah, yeah.
and just started speculating and just clickbaiting the crap out of it, which made just I mean it was just gasoline on a fire. And at this point, keep in mind, nobody from Microsoft has said anything
Anything.
at
Yeah.
all. There has not been anything, like nothing said at all. So yeah, and then it continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what, ends like the rumors there. I'm sure people there's probably things people try to like capitalize on, but
Hmm.
eventually, Phil just says, I mean, I'll quote the whole thing because I think it's kind of important. It says, "We're listening and
Hmm.
we hear you. We've been planning a business update event for next week where we look forward to sharing more details about you and about our vision of the future of Xbox.
Which
Stay tuned."
stopped the rumors zero. Yeah,
Yeah, more or less. I
yeah,
think, like if you're more cynical, you're saying like he didn't deny anything, so it must be true.
right.
I think, there's probably a hint of truth to it. I think definitely Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. I'm like almost 100% sure those are probably happening. Like maybe 95% sure.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna happen.
yeah. I mean, we went from that to they've stopped making consoles. All of the games are going third party.
Yeah.
Um, Game Pass is going away. Phil Spencer's fired. There's two competing kind of camps at Microsoft right now. The ones that want to keep it the way it is, and there's the other ones that want to go completely third party. Um, the entire team that handles physical media has been laid off.
No, that one's
That
true,
might
right?
actually be true. Yeah, which
Yeah.
they're it's going away, guys. Just deal with it. So yeah, this is now the only thing that I've found. So that I did a little research to try to find if I can just see anything that may be
Truthful.
well
Right.
that kind of points a light to some kind of truth. The only thing that I found was that if you go to Xbox's website, some of the descriptions of these games, these upcoming games, have changed a little bit, like Avowed and Fable. Now, Avowed Somebody mentioned something about it going third party at release. So I went to the website and it said Avowed is coming to Xbox Series X S and Game Pass day one. Blah 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 blah. It has that whole thing. Earlier today, I went back to look at Fable, and it popped back up to Avowed because that's the last place I went. It says it's different. It's completely redone. It just says Game Pass at the top, and then it says console, PC, and cloud. So the Xbox Series X S is completely taken off of that as far as like what it's coming to. So then I went to Fable. Fable says the same thing. It says console, PC, cloud. Now, that might just be verbiage. It's just a little too coincidental that they're talking about some third-party titles, and then they're changing these to console, PC, and cloud, and not specifically Xbox Series X and S. That would be smart. Now, if we're at a point right now, let's do some speculating ourselves. Now, do you think that like next week they're going to announce that all, everything's going third party?
I think they can't afford to do that sort of announcement. I think if it does, it's not going to happen immediately.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah. I think that it is highly likely that Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves could be put to PS5 and even Switch. I don't really know how Sea of Thieves would work on Switch, but or Hi-Fi Rush is going to Nintendo and Sea of Thieves is going to PS5. I
Switch
think that's, 2. Yeah, exactly. Well, they talked about putting Call of Duty on Switch, or no, on Nintendo consoles. They were talking about the second iteration. They're not talking about the Switch that's out now. But anyway, so I think those are highly likely. I'm totally okay with that. I don't know why anybody would be mad about somebody else not playing it, getting to play a game that they like. By those two games going to PlayStation 5, does it devalue your Xbox console?
I think for some people, I would argue that, what is the point of owning it if you can get all those titles on PS5, right? That's kind of like why people are arguing this, right?
Well, I have an answer for that.
Yep.
It's called Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of like
you're not going to get Game Pass on PS5. You're going to have to spend more money for the PS5. You're going to have to spend more money for the games on PS5. These games that you love so much that you got on Game Pass that you didn't pay anything for except the monthly fee, they're going to have to spend $70 on these games, or Hi-Fi Rush, probably not $70. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's not the same thing. It doesn't devalue your console because you can get Game Pass on the Xbox. You can't get it on PS5. They're not gonna. That's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think it devalues it at all. It still has value because it is a powerful console. I mean, as powerful as they are right now. And Game Pass, period. That's the argument. So with that argument, you could say if Gears of War goes to PS5, Halo goes to Gears of 5, Gears of War and Halo go to PS5 along with Forza. Does that devalue your console? No, because you still don't have to buy those games. You could just play them on Game Pass. You can still play it.
You can still play it on your console.
I know it doesn't. It's not. You're not taking those games off Xbox and putting them on PS5. That would be a huge problem. Or if they started releasing games that were exclusive to PS5, that would be stupid for one. They would do that. Yeah. But that would be really the only thing that starts to devalue that hardware that you bought from them.
I think the argument is if you wanted a PlayStation 5 and you chose an Xbox and this happened, then yeah, I totally sympathize with that, and also feel like people that have stuck with the platform long term and feel like, the console specifically, and then feel like...
Well, I mean if you play console, that's gonna happen. I mean, that's happened to me. I'm sure that's happened to you. Two Towers by EA came out on PS4. PS2. Best looking game I'd ever seen in my life. Best licensed game I'd ever seen. I could not wait to play it. I went out and bought a PS2 just to play this game. And then 6 months later, what happened? Or 4 months later, what happened? It went to Xbox.
Released on
It did. It
Yeah, I
did.
think
I'm
it went
like,
to GameCube as well. Yeah.
it did. It was exactly. And this is the time before they had, Reddit and things. It's like you could look it up and go, oh, it's just a times exclusive. I just wait. I'll get to play it on, the format I want to. But no, I bought that specifically for it. Now, did I feel like an idiot? And, no, because I already had a library of PS2 games that I was enjoying that I couldn't play on Xbox. So I didn't feel like it devalued anything. It's going to happen. I mean, it's just if you play on console, that's exclusives change and they move. And sometimes, you get them on other platforms and sometimes you don't. And, that's kind of just what you buy into. If you're not comfortable with that, then just get a PC, right?
Yeah, I mean, even PlayStation is expanding their market to PC.
Yep. Helldivers 2, day
Xbox
and
has
date.
been doing it. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of which, you downloaded Helldivers 2,
I
right?
bought it. I did. I feel like such a sucker. And of course, what did I do when I went into it? Servers are down.
Servers are down?
Servers down. Yep. I'm such an idiot. We were waiting. We were on the Discord. It's like, you said, what, you're going to wait till March? I'm like, man, that's a good, yeah, I'm going to wait till March. And I'm like, man, I got nothing to do right now. Everybody's
Suicide
saying,
Squad.
And I know, I'm like, no, I'm not, no. I don't think I'm playing that one. Helldivers 2 is more of my kind of game, but anyway. So these are things that, you just kind of have to deal with, and I think everybody just needs to calm down. But again, going back to if there's any truth, I think that it is very likely, like you said, that they laid off some of the team, or if not most of the team that handles physical media.
Yeah.
Walmart has already hinted that this year they're getting less and less, or if any, they're not getting any more Xbox games on their shelf.
Yeah, and there was a leak supposedly of GameStop canceling some smaller indie physical games for Xbox as well. So
yeah.
I feel like, okay, what do you expect for this coming week? What do you expect them to say?
This is what I think. I think that for one, I think Game Pass is going to change a little bit, because I think that this is they're going to kind of hint to what is their plan A, which is we won ABK. We got it. Plan B, we probably don't want to know what that was. I really don't. The plan B of we didn't get it. I think Game Pass is going to change a little bit. I think Call of Duty is not coming to Game Pass day one. I think it's going to be a time thing. I'm hoping that we will get some Call of Duty titles and some Activision stuff starting after this announcement.
Yeah, yeah.
Which makes that makes total sense. But I think going forward, they're going to have to say Call of Duty is just not something you're going to get with Game Pass day one. It might be 3 months later. It might be 6 months later. But if you want it day one, you're going to have to buy it. Also, I think that they are going to announce Hi-Fi Rush. It's going to Nintendo. And Sea of Thieves is going to PS5. They're not going to say anything else about future titles of Avowed or anything like that. There might be they might even restructure Game Pass a little bit. They've got these 3-tier that really is not necessary. And I think they're going to maybe start implementing their core feature of, hey, you can pay even less if you watch ads.
I think they might actually just add ads to the
core one.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to announce that, right?
That is a rumor too. That is a rumor floating around.
Yeah. So this is Microsoft. I think this is my opinion, and I got no really facts against it. This is just we've been in third place and we're sick of it. This is our Saudi has come in and going, hey, look, exclusives are stupid. Let's start putting these on other platforms. Maybe Sony will follow suit and look at the benefit of hey, we just made how much money with Sea of Thieves from Microsoft? What if we put Spider-Man on Xbox? Those could be in discussions. Don't think that won't happen. They will talk about that. Because the difference here is that Sony supposedly makes money with each console sale. Microsoft loses money with every console sale. So
I
Yeah.
think they're okay being third place. It's because their revenue's been up just
The
based on Game
revenue's
Pass,
not
right?
meeting what they're supposed to be meeting though. Like subscriptions, sales, everything is making money, but it's
Mm-hmm.
right below where they want to be. Microsoft doesn't do want to be. At that point, they do one of two things. They double down on something and go full speed ahead and you start seeing a more aggressive Microsoft, or they go
Yeah.
in and they cancel everything. They couldn't make the Windows Phone sell. So instead of making a better phone and really challenging like Apple and Google, they just went, yeah, whatever, forget it. You
Well,
know?
Satya did say he regretted um, getting rid of the phone.
Yeah, yeah. Especially after buying Nokia, the best phone
Yeah.
manufacturer ever made. So
Uh,
anyway, uh, I don't know. What do you think they're gonna? What do you think they're gonna say? What do you think is gonna come
I,
out of this?
I agree for the most part. I think last year, even last year, when I said that when Call of Duty was coming, I was gonna say they were gonna do like that Disney Plus thing where you
Mm-hmm.
pay like a discount for it. I don't know how if that will actually be the thing. I mean, it could be a thing. You never know.
Um, I think it has to do more with they will make more money if it's not on Game Pass
Yeah,
that
yeah,
day one, and it's possible that that was part of the deal with getting ABK is that it was not going to be day one on Game Pass.
yeah. I think the ABK deal shifted a whole lot of things, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
to get a $79 billion purchase, you have to probably agree to a few things with Satya, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and yeah. I don't think they. I'm sure they probably didn't get everything that they wanted in that deal, but then they had to
yeah.
compromise some other stuff. But
And now they're compromising internally as well. And considering all the layoffs they faced recently, business is
well,
changing.
that yeah, but a it was a merger. I mean, it was a huge
Yeah, yeah,
merger, and there are layoffs with a merger because you got Doug and Mary, and they both like do one job. You can't have
yeah.
both. You can't pay both of them to do the same job. It's redundant. 1900 seems like a lot of redundancy, but we don't know how much
We
those
don't know the
were.
exact breakdown. Yeah.
No, we don't. And I hope those people will find another job soon. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not game development or something like that. But anyway, so yeah, I mean that's I think the most likely version of what's going to happen. Is it going to melt the internet? Absolutely. Is the gaming media going to take it and spin it in the worst possible way?
That's a guarantee.
Absolutely,
That's
it's guaranteed.
100% guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah. Anything to make Microsoft look worse than Sony, I mean, they do it. But on the flip side of that, it, them say like Sony getting Halo Infinite, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I think it's them getting Gears of War. I mean, that whole series is fantastic. Plus, if they get it, they're probably going to they're hopefully will port the rest of them to PC at the same time, and that will benefit this guy. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, but
So was it? Here's another thing. They might do the strategy where they let's say they just do the Master Chief collection and the Gears of War collection,
mhm.
but then they keep the future titles, at least for now, exclusive still. So they could be doing that. Kind of like PlayStation's almost doing that with releasing the first couple of Spider-Mans.
Mhm.
Spider-Man 2 is not announced yet for PC, right? Probably not until the sales dwindle a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're working on it right now. But maybe with Helldivers 2, seeing that it was a seemingly successful release, money
Yeah, yeah.
wise, if not technically, that they'll start considering day and date for PC. Um, you know, Sony needs some capital right now. Um, you know, some people seem to think that Sony is infallible and cannot fail for some reason just because they make God of War and Last of Us, but statistics show that the majority of the people that buy a PlayStation aren't even buying those games. They're not even playing them.
Yeah.
They're playing Fortnite and Call of Duty. So That's why I say having something like Halo Infinite, a free to play multiplayer game on that platform would benefit them. It would benefit Sony. It would only benefit them. I don't see why they would say no. But there's also with Halo, there was also I think a LinkedIn or somebody they were looking for. They're hiring people at 343, but it did say for the next Halo experience for all platforms. It didn't say for Xbox and PC. It said for all platforms. So all platforms in a job description usually means, all platforms. You've got
if
PC,
they really don't announce
console.
the other titles tomorrow, then it's gonna be a lot more stewing. Kind of like people
But
speculating, right?
they can't come out and say tomorrow that everything's going to
Everything.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean they're already. If you want to just tank your sales in your console right there, then go ahead and say that. But I think it's again a lot of the stuff that drives the internet has to do with brand loyalty.
Yeah.
And they don't really see how damaging that is from the outside. It is. You're not benefiting yourself by having brand loyalty. You're just not. You're not. Sony doesn't hire you. They're not there with you. When you make that purchase, they're not with you, and they're a company. They don't care. They just want your money. Think like a consumer. Not like you're part of the team. It's always like the Super Bowl's later today, and that's what, I couldn't say Super Bowl. Oops, the big game. We're gonna get fined.
The big game.
We're gonna get fined. I'm gonna have to edit it.
We're demonetized.
Sued. Oh look, I just got a letter. It's from the NFL. Anyway, totally forgot where I was going with that. But it's like when people say it's like the 49ers, right? Yeah, we're going to the finals. Yeah, you are? Like you're part of the team? That's always just I never connected with that or wondered why,
Yeah.
I can understand like if you went to a college and you graduated from a college, then you would feel that connection of because that's your college. But
yeah,
it's
not
the same.
Even
it's the same thing with like Xbox and Sony. It's just I don't get it, especially coming from playing exclusively on console to PC. When you do that, and you probably know what I'm talking about, you see that mentality, and it's damaging. It's just totally damaging to the brand that you like so much and the other one that you hate so much. More people getting to play good games is only better for everyone. Those people get to make more money. They get more funding to make better games. And more people get to enjoy games with, cannonballs and exploding barrels.
Yep,
it's a win-win-win, man. But
yeah, I totally agree. It's just this whole console war thing's been since Sega and Nintendo, right?
Yeah, and it's just exhausting, man. It's just making somebody feel terrible for the console that they bought. But a lot of those people kind of bring it on their own. Did you see the guy that said he said he like threw his Xbox in the floor, but he showed he showed a picture of an Xbox that was like obviously burned, like internally, like melted. And like, dude, you didn't throw that in the floor. You got that picture off Google, or the guy that threw it in the garbage and it's like neatly laid on top of the garbage in a clean, brand new garbage bag. Come on, it's just it's so stupid, man. So stupid.
But it's just the state of our internet.
I know. It's entertaining. I do kind of sit back with popcorn and see. But with that, what have they announced? When this week they're going to announce this stuff, or they just said
no
next
one
week,
knows. People were saying, "Oh, I guess we gotta wait till Friday," and that could be the case. Who knows?
I think it's probably so.
They like to do it midweek usually.
Yeah.
I feel like they always announce stuff midweek or
it's usually
Thursday.
Monday. Yeah.
Then we get like the
Monday.
ABK or Bethesda on a Monday. I feel like we got that. We woke up and it's like, what?
Oh man, that was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Man, I thought it was a joke. It's like they just bought Bethesda. I'm like, why would they do that? That's stupid. It's
And
like,
then yeah.
here we are. But anyway, yeah, yeah, we'll kind of have to just wait and see. It's unfortunately, man, we're thinking of this big announcement, like they're going to have like this big presentation, but it's not. It's probably just going to be a tweet. Hey, just want to let you know this is what's happening.
I don't think it'll be a tweet.
You
There's
don't
not
think
enough
so?
context to that. It's got to be Phil on saying it like in some sort of video. Like
I would hope so. I would hope that they would go to that extent to say,
the tweets will always get taken out of context. That's the
yeah.
problem. So
Do you think Phil's stepping down? Maybe.
I mean, Phil's technically not the president anymore, right? That's Sarah Bond,
He's in
right?
charge of everything.
Microsoft Gaming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarabon has kind of got like his old job. Yeah, where he's
Yeah.
in charge.
I don't think he's stepping down.
No, I don't. I don't either. I think this is a an up for him. But it probably would be, if he did, I wouldn't be terribly surprised after getting ABK and having Xbox in this position, and then of course going in possibly a new direction with it. That would be a good time for him to step out, much like Trenton did after PS4 launched. It's like everything's good. I did all this. I did that. I'm good with that. I'm gonna go do something else.
That's basically what our boy what's his name now? I forget the recent CEO for PlayStation.
Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that feels a little different. I don't think he was fired, but I think he was.
No, he wasn't fired, but he pretty much set up everything for PlayStation, and then he's like, I'm gonna bounce.
Yep. Like I don't like to travel.
Yeah.
So okay. He's probably in a Winnebago.
Like, well, yeah.
Traveling around
Mike,
the UK
your bar
right
is
now.
going to be traveling after he's leaving the company.
Man, I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall for Mike Ibarra, because before all of this happened, he was very adamant about being at Blizzard. He was very happy about that. People seemed to like him there. I don't know. Mm-hmm. You never know. And then, yeah, all of a sudden he's out, and it's I don't know, either that or he didn't want to work for Microsoft again.
That could be the case.
Well, I mean, it's sometimes people feel like that may be a not a move forward. Like if you work for somebody, we had this in my field. We had some of our people leave and go work for another company.
And then come back?
No. They left. Then there was a new company that started. So then that same people went and worked for that new company. But then the company that they previously worked for bought that company. So now they were all working again for that company, and it made it a little weird, like, you guys left, huh? Well, no, you didn't.
Nope.
Yeah. So that might, you never know. That might kind of bring up some things that previously were not jiving. But I don't know. I think Mike Barr always did a pretty good job at Microsoft and what he did for Xbox, and he's kind of come from the 360 days. So
yeah.
But we'll see. A lot of speculation on that stuff. We'll never know really what's going on with that unless somebody writes a book, or unless Mike Ibarra writes a book.
I have one really more slight rumor real quick.
Please.
It's just like the thing. Some people are saying that Bethesda complained that Call of Duty gets to stay multi-platform, but we didn't. That's like a rumor that's going around.
I mean, but who's complaining?
I don't know.
Well, I know Pete Hines. Pete Hines was very vocal about not being happy that their games were going exclusive to Xbox after they were bought.
He's also left too.
He did. He left. Yeah. He was especially what was it? What game? I guess it was Starfield, where he kind of apologized. That was not a smart move. Microsoft, I don't think, liked that, when he kind of apologized for Starfield not coming to PS5. Because originally it was. All other games were going to go or multi-plat. And yeah, I don't know. Starfield's just an odd bird. It was supposed to be like the next big great RPG. And although I did enjoy it, I can tell you it's one of the only Bethesda games other than Fallout 4 that I really haven't gone back to at all. And other than maybe loading it to see that what that patch did or something, and it's just I just don't think it was what Microsoft was hoping.
Yeah.
Especially after Redfall. I mean, they could have released anything after Redfall and it would look better. But again, I think again, this is Microsoft tired of falling behind in their projections and being third place. They're gonna do something completely different. Now, can we go to the rumor where we can talk about their next iteration of Xbox? Because they are still making consoles, people. So don't worry. And the handheld version.
That's the interesting part to me.
You've
It's
heard
like,
this,
oh,
right?
piqued my interest. You said handheld.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So we both have handhelds. Okay, they build another console, which would be their Series X, whatever it's going to be named. And instead of having a Series S, it's going to be a handheld that will obviously can be connected to the TV.
Series S portable.
How likely do you think that is, though?
I feel it's possible if they can shrink the die to the Series S and make it power efficient, or make something like an easy way to.
But wait a minute though. We're talking about the next generation of Xbox, not another version of the S. This is like their next big thing.
I think like the idea of, aside from like the hardware jump, I think the Series X will still have some support, like they've kind of been doing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think they're obviously not. The generations are going to blend together. I mean, you're going to be able to play all your games on this new version and everything.
So I do think it would be a portable Series S.
Think so?
Yeah, because I feel like even Phil's been kind of like he has that screen with the Series S. Like he loves that screen. And supposedly he takes it everywhere or whatever. But that I think that sort of idea, like with the Series S, because people want it portable, I think that's what this translates to. Just take the Series S, shrink it down, make it portable.
But what about their next? What about their next first party titles though?
What do you mean, like?
Okay, well, this is what I think, and I think either this rumor is just something made up, or they know something that we don't. So you make the next Xbox, okay? It's going to be more powerful, obviously. There's rumors that they have not signed anything with AMD. That doesn't mean that they're not going with AMD. That just means they have not finalized either their hardware specs or their the legal paperwork. I don't think it's likely they will go with Intel. Intel and Microsoft really just don't work well together. Believe it or not, they're not. Anyway, so if you have a new console, and then you also have a component or the sidekick to it, which would be portable, you're going to have to make that to play the first-party title games that come with that new console. You've got to. You can't release it and have it only work with last gen. Nobody's going to buy that because it's not future-proof. Any future titles are not going to be you're able to play it. Or if it is a Series S, it's going to be much like any title that you would get, when the Series X and the S came out, the Xbox One titles. Oh, well, Cyberpunk 2077, it'll work on your Xbox One as well. Well, barely. And I use that as the most literal term. You don't want to have that in a handheld. It's too costly, and they can't gamble on that. Not this go around. They already caught so much flack with the S already. So that handheld's going to have to be in parity somewhat to that new console. So
let me add.
That's going to be expensive, man.
part of the slides that released,
Mm-hmm.
it talked about an ARM-based cloud hybrid system.
Yeah.
So that could be what
Which
they.
ARM is mobile.
Yeah, ARM
Yeah.
mostly does mobile, right?
Yeah.
It's its own instruction set. So that could be the case where it is basically part cloud powered. Like, like some of the processing is done in cloud.
Mm-hmm.
They've talked about this forever, right? Like, I mean, I know the
Yeah.
crackdown thing is like a unique case because whatever technology about it kind of flopped.
Yeah.
Um, but they've been investing into cloud, and I think that's a potential possibility. Now, single like by itself, I think it will be at least be as strong as a Series S, right? So, and I would be fine with that because there's so many titles already you could play on the Series S.
Mm-hmm.
But like that hybrid aspect might give it that edge to kind of match the higher console.
That would be a huge gamble, though. I mean, you're relying on like some of the processing power being handled through the cloud.
Yeah.
Which now, if you play a cloud game, it's like, oh, you're gonna have to wait 23 minutes before you play your game. Uh, I mean, the technology is sound. I mean, I like what you're saying. I just don't think that it's. I don't think it's feasible, though. Well, take the Steam Deck for instance. If you have a Steam Deck out there, uh, the latest games that come out, you're going to be able to play some of them, but you're not going to be able to play them probably at what the developers would love to see you play them as far as fidelity and frame rate
Yeah.
and all that, right? Even if you just bought one. So what compromises are they going to make this thing at least parity with what they release alongside it? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's
I
going to
see what you're
have to have
saying.
enough power to say Halo 7, or actually be Halo 8, whatever it is, comes out with the new Xbox, and it's like the most visually stunning Halo ever made, and then you have it on a handheld, and it's playing exactly like it would on a Series S. I don't think they could afford to do that. I don't think that would be something that they would release and have. If that's somebody's first interaction with Xbox, is this handheld, that would be terrible. That would be terrible for them and their brand. I just don't think I don't think that rumor is likely. I think it's something that they might have planned. I think it's something that they might have had, but as far as cost, the only thing I could think of is that this thing is like a Rogue Ally. It is not a cheap S version. It is an actual on parity with what you buy, a $600-$700 handheld
Could
Xbox
Yeah,
machine that will do pretty much everything. I
could
think
just be a Xbox PC, right?
exactly. I think that would be smart, and I think it would be great because that would give you the mobile market as far as anywhere just mobility. That would give you the PC side of it, or Xbox. It would probably have the Xbox, operating system on it, and then Game Pass wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
And it will attach to a TV, and you can use any Xbox controller you want. Done. That's
So
your new
one thing
console.
though, the thing is like this is already like a lot of people are already doing this. This is why I kind of want to do the Series S
Mm-hmm.
take on it, because like what would make their device unique to like another device? But I also see what you're saying. That's probably a little bit like proprietary
Yeah.
compared to everything else. But it's hard to say because like even if they go the Surface route, they're already competing with existing companies out there too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I just don't want to see another, PlayStation Portal, which I think is just not a necessary item. I'm sure it's nice, and if you got one, you enjoy it, no big deal. But I don't think it's something that needs to be in the market. Just doesn't need to be there. But again, this could be 2026. We're talking about
yeah,
possibly
could be.
2028. We don't really know where the handhelds are going to be at that point. They might rival, they might have exceedingly better pricing with exceptional performance
Yeah.
over that time. So, and this conversation might be mute. I don't know, but yeah, I think hitting, especially if it's going to be 2 to 4 years from now, hitting that level of Xbox Series S would be a huge mistake. So you're
Fair,
wrong.
Fair. Okay, yeah,
No,
that's fine.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's, they might not even have, they might just, here's the new Xbox, whatever. Xbox, bleh, whatever it's going to be called, and that's it.
Well,
they say a lot of
they're
things.
Still probably doing the mid-gen refresh, right?
I don't know. Phil Spencer said they're not. That's not to say they're going to release another, refresh as far as like the size of the actual Xbox, or, they might make a smaller or slimmer one. But as far as performance increase, I don't think.
No,
I don't think they are. You think just like a slim
Pro, but like a slim version, or the digital version, right? Because that's what it looks like. They're doing a digital version.
Yeah, I think that's very possible, very likely, especially if it's something that's going to come out later this year after we have a whole year of okay, physical media is dead. Okay, I got it. Physical, you're not going to buy physical media. Then in the fall release that. Sure. Maybe an Indiana Jones version. Oh my God, they released that. No, I'm not buying another console. But yeah, that could be possible, but I don't think it's going to be something we're going to get announced next week.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, they announced, stuff a year in advance. This could be, 11 months in advance. I don't know. So
yeah, hard to say.
Well,
very eager for what we're going to see this week. We'll follow up next week.
Yeah, we could definitely be totally wrong in everything. They could be.
Yeah,
it could be something.
But I mean, our outlook is not as dire as so many people.
Oh no, God, just calm down. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't throw your Xbox out of a window. Might hit somebody.
Yeah. So. I mean, at worst, you get a PS5, which is also a good console. If it's that bad, so
you're gonna hate the UI, but you'll get used to it.
I hate the UI, but yeah,
it's terrible. It is a god awful. I mean, I just wish they would put the PS4 UI in the PS5. I wish there was a patch for that or a mod or something. That would be awesome.
I do feel like with the PS5 UI, they changed it just so it feels super new, but then there's a lot of things I didn't like. It. Yeah, and then they added that whole game help thing, which is hardly utilized. Maybe first party utilizes it, which I mean it's nice, but it's like people not using the gamepad on the Wii U back in the day.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But in any case, I think is that it for this week?
I think so.
No?
I think it's just kind of a waiting game at this point, and see where we go with it and what they're gonna do, and I'm actually more excited about the reaction to whatever they're going to say than what they're actually going to say.
we know what the reaction is going to be like, right?
Yeah.
I'm just ready for a bunch of clickbait thumbnails. Which, sure, I'll put one up just for fun. But
let's
and
do
also,
it.
Yeah. This
I like burning, that background you got.
Yeah, this burning X, right?
Right.
AI generated.
It's the end of the world. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, in any case, we'll be back next week. We'll discuss what happens, and hopefully some fires will be put out.
Let's hope.
Maybe not.
Let's hope.
Maybe not.
Yeah, new ones. We might have all new ones to talk about. Cool. All right.
So, Scott, where
leave us a comment. Just say, hey, what's up? And please leave us a like. Likes are good, and subscribe. Subscribing is, paramount.
Also good.
Yeah, that would be great. Right now, it's just relatives. Hi, Mom. So, just make our day.
Yeah. So, and that's it for this week. So, we'll see you guys next week.